G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to be talking about all of the rogue changes that came with the Phase 3 patch. Obviously, it's been a large break in YouTube for me. I think my last video was the Fell Striker video back in P1 about 6 or 7 months ago. So a really long absence, but I'm back on YouTube now. I'm still playing Classic the whole time. But I just took a small break from YouTube, but very much renewed and looking back to getting into the swing of things. And I thought I'd make a video on all of these rogue changes and how they'll affect you in P3 moving forwards as well. Some of them are smaller changes. Some of them are changes that you won't even notice. Some changes that you won't have encountered at all. And there are namely the last one, which is the change to Feint, which is probably the biggest one, and it's actually going to change the way you play your class. I'll go through the whole list. Obviously, the patch had a bunch of fixes, blood decays, the addition of shattering throwglyph, changes to Omen of Clarity, and so on. But today we'll just talk about all the rogue changes. First up, we have fixed an issue with the overkill talent that prevented rogues from appropriately gaining damage immunity the moment that Vanish is used. So this is just a nice bug fix that, to be completely honest, that I hadn't noticed was a bug. But basically now you can batch Vanish correctly to avoid damage from certain mechanics. Obviously with this mechanic, it's nice to be able to completely negate damage that you would either have to move out of, like maybe like a Mimiron, or use Vanish to completely negate certain mechanics like vanishing the Razor Scale knockback. So this is just a really nice change. Nice to know that you can vanish things without the thought in your head that the bug's there and this might actually kill me. Secondly, fix an issue that caused multiple ranks of wound poison to place multiple separate debuffs on the enemy target. Now, I can only suspect that this is probably to do with P3 Anub, last encounter in TOGC. It's not something that I've seen being used at all so far. Maybe in PvP, I'm not sure. But in P3 Anub, you need some kind of healing reduction, whether that's Mortal Strike, whether that's Wound Poison, Aim Shot, and that's got to have really good uptime in order for you to kill the boss. So I presume that this was some kind of cheese that was found on PTR. And probably a pretty significant change for realm firsts, because if something like this isn't fixed, it's going to come out pretty quickly through streamers, through YouTube, through Discords that you can do this, and people would be cheesing it within a week, I'm sure. So that's completely changed. So now someone else is going to have to properly do the encounter. So maybe your combat rogues are putting on Wound Poison, your hunter, they can manage to have really good uptime on aim shots, or if for whatever reason you have an arms warrior, they can do it. Next is fix an issue that allowed rogues to get free combo points before an encounter begins utilizing Honor Among Thieves. So this is a talent pretty deep in the sub-spec tree that gives you a 100% chance if you max out the talent to gain 1 combo point if a friendly crits or if you crit. Pretty sure. So basically what people were doing is they were swapping to sub. They would put on, sometimes they would put on 2-piece Slayer to get 5% extra haste on Slice and Dice. And they would get a Holy Pally to spam heals, and you would gain combo points. You can max out your combo points before you even pull. You could snapshot a bigger Slice and Dice. And it's basically just like a really cringe passing strategy. And I think this is really healthy for the game. Nobody wants to be doing this kind of extensive, sweaty stuff to be passing. And I think it just levels the playing field nicely as well. Fix an issue that causing rogues using Slice and Dice on a target affected by Vigilance to be removed from stealth. Now, I don't think this is a PvE change at all. I think this is probably, by the way it's reading, some kind of PvP change to do with Prot Warriors if you're versing another Prot Warrior. You can now just pre-med Slice and Dice on someone that might have the Vigilance buff on them. So nothing too significant to worry about. Nothing too significant for PvPers either, because I don't imagine you'll be encountering too many Prot Warriors. And lastly, the huge change, which is sort of why we're all here and why I'm making this video pretty much, is resolved an issue that caused Feint to incorrectly proc poisons on the rogue's target. So this really affects assassination rogues in particular. Normally in your third glyph spot, in your glyphs you would always run Hunger for Blood and Mutilate, and in your third one, it was pretty common that you would just be running Feint glyph for the extra DPS gain. You would use Feint during sort of every Envenom window, and you would get extra procs of poison. Once deadly poison stacked up to 5, usually deadly's on your main hand, you use Feint, it procs your main hand poison, which would then in turn proc your poison at 5 stacks on your offhand, which would be instant poison. So it's just a way of getting really reliable extra instant poison procs. That is completely removed now. It does not proc anything at all. This was first kind of discovered that it had been maybe fixed or changed on PTR about maybe 1 or 2 weeks ago. I went on PTR and I tested myself, and it wasn't working anymore, but was continuing to work on live servers during the Ulduar patch. And now that the patch is live, it is not working anymore, and we do have the confirmation, obviously, from Blizzard in this blue post as well. I think the natural next step for what you would replace it with is just Tricks of the Trade glyph. Be a team player, do the right thing, and tricks your warlocks, and this would just give them an extra long window to be able to snapshot really effectively. You could, in theory, run other things. Maybe you run Rupture glyph or you run Vigor glyph, but I think the correct decision across the board is just going to be use Tricks of the Trade glyph. I wouldn't faff around with experimenting and getting 10 extra energy off Vigor and stuff like that. Tricks of the Trade glyph is definitely going to be your go-to now. And those 3 are pretty much going to be consistent the whole way through to the end of the game, which is really nice. You don't have to do like that combat glyph swapping for every fight, depending on fight length and stuff like that. Assassination rogues can just set their 3 glyphs and forget about it. That is basically everything that I wanted to cover in today's video. Obviously, I'm back to making videos again, so I would look forward to hearing any kind of videos that you would like me to make, perhaps, anything that you wanted me to cover to do with TOGC. I will be releasing an assassination and combat loot priority list before the first raid, so you can all enjoy that, get your lists in. Or if you're a GDK peer, if you're looking to know what items to spend, kind of big on, that'll also be useful to you as well. Your soft res runs, all of that. Really nice to be informed about what items are actually good for you and which is kind of maybe common traps that you can avoid as well, just by being a little bit more informed. But thank you so much for tuning in to today's video. It is great to be back, and I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.